All right, let's get into it. I'm not sure what day it is.
Yeah, it's everything's just a blur at this point. But
it feels like a Monday. It's close to a Friday.
But for the listeners, it's Friday.
Yeah, there you go.
So happy Friday, guys. Here for another wonderful episode of the Warfighter Tobacco Podcast. We just got back from Las Vegas for SHOT Show. We had a lot of cigar stuff to do at the gun show, which is kind of fun.
It was fun.
Yeah.
The cool part about this SHOT Show was, one, you haven't been there in a couple of years, so I appreciated being there with you. It was awesome. But we'd be like talking to like a booth and some random, like I think we were in EOTech's booth.
Yeah.
And some random guys just like,
yeah, we had a couple customers that walked up.
Hey man, love your cigars.
Yeah.
You know?
I appreciate the shit out of that.
It happened quite a few times. It was good.
It really did. Yeah, we ran into a lot of customers. We ran into a few retailers. We ran into a lot of friends, a lot of people that we met since when we were in the firearm industry.
Yeah.
And the carryover is pretty awesome. But yeah, we had a great time. It was probably, I will say, it's probably my favorite SHOT Show that I've ever been to. And I don't even know. I've probably been to 8 of them. Yeah. Maybe more, 10.
And I know why, but tell people why.
So it's a toss-up between my first SHOT Show I went to,
right,
and this one that we just got back from.
And the first one you went to,
I just didn't know,
was your first day in the firearms business.
Yeah, absolutely. Right?
And so you had you never stood behind the counter at a store before.
I didn't know anything.
Like the last, I would say, coherent thing John knew about firearms was how to disassemble and reassemble a 240 Bravo.
Yep.
After that, you were kind of a shit show. You were kind of a shit.
I could shoot. I just didn't know.
Right. you were blissful.
I didn't even know how to change out a trigger in an AR-15.
Right.
Which is the most simplest thing in the world.
Yeah.
Yeah, I remember we got to after that first SHOT Show, we got to the gun store. You handed me the rifle. Like, hey, go put this drop-in trigger in for this customer. And I turned around. I turned back around to you, and I'm like, I don't know how to do this. And you looked at me and you're like, what? And I'm like, God, dude, I in the Army, they told me don't touch this. So I never touched it.
I think you're a fast learner, right? So I think it was like probably the first 3 months. It was just a crash course on basic, pretty advanced stuff.
I was just a sponge.
Yeah.
But I think one of the things that helped me up the most about the product side of things was when I got there, you just got a website and you're getting it up and running.
Yeah.
And I had to load every single product in the store on the website.
Right.
And we had about 1,400 SKUs.
Yeah.
So I'd literally walk out and I'd grab like 10 items and I'd set them on my desk and I'd research all 10 of the items, create the product page for them, adjust the inventory, go put those back on the shelf and grab 10,
So for Justin, I want to articulate this, right? So our website now, we have what, maybe 200 SKUs ish.
Yeah, maybe 300, including all the different variants and stuff.
But every SKU we carry or have, for the most part, it's something we reorder and resell and reorder.
Or it's a bundle and it's got other products that are in it, yeah.
At the gun store,
they're all individual.
We would have one product come in one time and then never carry it again.
Jesus.
But I had to put it on the website.
Yeah. It was a nightmare.
Pictures, descriptions, SEO, the whole fucking nine.
This explains why you're such a patient man, John.
No, this explains why when it's not right. I'm like, God damn it.
I'm wondering right now if you've ever met John.
He can be pretty patient.
Sometimes.
Most of yeah.
So your first SHOT Show.
Yes.
You were blissfully ignorant.
I remember we were at the Beyond Shot party. Which is up in that suite. And it's all these like tier 1 operators and guys that have been in the industry forever. And all these people that are unbelievably knowledgeable about everything. Yeah. And I'm trying to hold my own in a conversation and I have no fucking idea what I'm talking about. And I'm just like, yeah, man, I totally get it.
Yeah. And then this SHOT Show.
Yeah. So that SHOT Show was my favorite because I didn't know anything. So I just showed up and I was like, oh my God, this industry is huge.
I didn't really give you any responsibilities other than
just experience this and soak up what you can. And so that was awesome. And then by the time I went to my second SHOT Show, like I had responsibilities at that point. Like we had certain people we had to go see. We had buying. We had to do relationships we had to build or keep building. Like we had all this stuff going on. So although it was fun, it was a shitload of work. Mm-hmm. And it wasn't like that first experience where everything was new and it's a shiny new toy, you know? And then this last SHOT Show is, like I said, probably by far my favorite because we got there Monday evening.
Yep.
Checked into the hotel, immediately turned back around and went out networking and hung out all night long. Got to bed about 4. We were up at 7, I think. Got breakfast, went to the show first thing Tuesday morning. We were only on the show floor for like 5 hours.
Yeah.
And we hit everybody we needed to hit. There's a few that we missed, but it happens.
Yeah.
But we talked to almost everybody we needed to hit. We dropped off all the cigars that we did for different brands that were out there and things like that. Made all the relationships, got all the contacts that we needed, did everything that we needed to do. And at like 2:30, we're like, guys ready to go get some food? Let's blow this popsicle stand. Left and got food, went out that night, did more networking, hanging out and talking with everybody, and then flew out first thing Wednesday morning.
Yeah.
Like that was the best SHOT Show ever.
Yeah. So I had, since we got out of the gun industry, I've been to SHOT Show probably 2 or 3 other times.
Yeah.
Where you didn't go.
Yep.
But it was the same thing, right? No responsibility.
Yeah, it's so nice.
Yeah, it was.
I didn't have to buy anything.
Right.
It's not like, oh God,
yeah,
it's amazing.
We were working tradesies.
Yeah.
You know, go hitting up all the thermo guys and be like, you like cigars? I like thermos. You know, that kind of thing.
Right.
So, but yeah, it was fun this year. You know, and I struggle between we should do one more day at SHOT Show or like this was perfect. Like,
I think this was perfect.
Yeah.
Because I think I snuck by without getting a hangover.
I don't know how, because it's not like we didn't try.
Oh, I put an honest effort.
Yeah.
Honest effort. But every morning we woke up and we're like, let's do this.
Yeah.
Even like we're getting ready to go home. I'm like,
Tuesday night, I was kind of feeling it. So I'm like trying to like not drink as much. Every fucking time I turned around,
there's another drink. I had my drinking shoes on.
You
this
did.
Week.
You did. Especially Tuesday night.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I had a blast. We got to meet a very interesting individual while we were out there.
Which one?
Kyle Rittenhouse.
Oh, yes. Yes.
He just turned 21.
Like this
January
month.
3rd.
Yeah.
Yep. And I think the day before we were hanging out with him was the first time he had a legal drink in Vegas.
Right.
And then we hung out with him. I think it was that Tuesday or Monday night.
Tuesday night.
Yes, Tuesday night. No, it was Monday night
and Tuesday. But
Monday was the fun night though.
Yeah.
And then
yeah, you're right. Yeah.
But it was just it was very interesting to be able to sit there and have conversations with him. Early in the night. Yeah. And then later in the night, he was blackout shit-faced.
Well, and I kind of went into dad mode. I'm like, this is a 21-year-old kid that like, he's kind of a national treasure. You know, like he went through some shit, right?
Yeah.
I'm like, okay, I need to make sure he gets home safe, right? Like he was in SHOT Show is probably the safest environment he could have been in, right?
100%.
Yeah.
But still, like, there's... And I can't really speak much because I do like to partake in a couple alcoholic beverages.
Yeah. But you have some life experience.
I can hold my own when I'm drinking. I like to think. I mean, I have fun. I act a fool sometimes, but you know, there isn't anything that I can do per se that is controversial enough that you know I'm going to be on news or something like that. Mainly because nobody really knows who the fuck I am.
Yeah.
And I don't care.
What is it? Anonymity? Or?
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, but when you're Kyle Rittenhouse and your face was blasted over every news channel for years, like maybe don't get that drunk.
It was funny. I was talking. He was a little drunk, but good kid. Like, I had nothing bad to say about him. It was funny. I was talking to him and he was a little drunk, but I said, hey, I have boys your age and I really appreciate, you know, what you went through and, you know, how you got through it all and how you handled yourself.
Right.
And he looks at me dead serious and he's like, yeah, all it took was practice. I said, no. I said, I meant after that. And when you went through court and the media and all that shit, I said, that's what I'm talking about. How you handled that.
The pulling the trigger part, that's not that's not what we're talking about.
But I mean, he was good at that too. Let's not be wrong. But yeah, when he looked at me and said, all it takes is practice, and I'm like, no, that's not what I meant. Yeah. But I thought it was funny. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, he was a good kid. Yeah. I'm not sure what we talked to him about college plans and stuff, I think, but
he was thinking about possibly law enforcement or something around those lines.
Yeah.
But good kid, good head on his shoulders. But then again, like I got to think about like me when I was 21.
He was well behaved.
For one, nobody let me go to Vegas when I was 21.
Right.
And I'm proud of that. Actually, I take it back. I did go to Vegas when I was 21, and it was an absolute shit show. Yeah. But I never went during SHOT Show.
Right.
And my face was never plastered all over Fox News.
Yeah.
But it was a great time. We had an awesome time with him and hanging out. And then, I mean, just everybody else that's there. Yeah. I could go down a laundry list, all the people that we hung out and talked with. And I don't want to do that.
It was fun. There were a lot of cigar smokers in Vegas that are at SHOT Show. Yeah. So
it's funny. Gun people are cigar people.
But yeah. And we got handed cigars, which I appreciate.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
So
actually, I still have it. I'm about to put it in my humidor.
Just smoked it this morning. Thanks, Jeff.
Oh, you did?
Yeah.
yeah. Thanks, Jeff. But I'm going to put mine in the humidor. I'm going to let it wait about a month.
It was good.
Smoke it.
Mine smoked fine.
Yeah.
So yeah.
We did some cigars. We did cigars for Aero Precision, for Stag Arms, Ballistic Advantage,
some EOTech,
and we threw some cigars in the VIP bags for Condor.
Yeah.
Speak of the devil.
Yeah.
Gary Brugman just walked in. He was with us at SHOT Show too.
How are you feeling, buddy?
Worn out.
Yeah. I slept a lot of hours last night when I got home.
Just got in.
Yeah.
Yep. It was funny too, because we're telling people like, we're gonna head out. We're actually leaving tomorrow. Like this Tuesday night when we're hanging out with everyone. And like, you guys are leaving tomorrow. Like it's just getting started. Like, we have to be back here in like 5 days.
Yeah.
For this TPE, for a cigar trade show.
Yeah.
And they're like, oh, we get it. Yeah. But no, we had a great time out there. We were out there for Burbiz also. Burbiz is put on by
Veteran Success Group.
Yep, Scott Davidson.
Yep.
They did a little comedy show for us, and that was really fun.
It was pretty good.
They had all the comedians were prior military except for one.
Two.
The
chick and Caleb.
That's true. And I can't remember the chick's last name, but I think her first name's Christina.
Yeah. Oh, and she was funny.
And she absolutely crushed it. Crushed it. And Justin Governall, a good friend of ours, he was following up. He was a headliner, and he had to follow her. And she just fucking nailed everything.
She has the soul of an infantryman.
She really does.
I'll give her that.
And then the best part that we found out, so Randy Couture and his girl, Mindy, were sitting front row. And a lot of the jokes that this girl, like Christina, was saying, she was picking on Mindy and Randy, like directly to their face. And they were engaging back with her and everything like that.
Because they were having a good time.
They were having a great time. And these jokes were fucking on point.
They were pointed at jiu-jitsu and MMA a little bit. And
butt stuff.
Like making fun of it.
Yeah. But she didn't know who the fuck they were.
And she could not have picked two better
people.
people.
When she got off the stage, Mikey would, he was backstage with Justin. She got backstage and Mikey was just like, hey, I just want to say you guys crushed that. And all his jokes about Randy and Minnie, blah, blah, blah. And she's like, who? And Mikey's like, oh, the guy and the girl in the front row that you're talking about. And she's like, oh, I don't know who they are. And he's like, that dude was Randy Couture, like MMA fighter, UFC champ. And that's Mindy's girl. Yeah. And she was just like, oh.
Yeah, it was pretty funny. And Justin did a hell of a good job. Yeah. Who else was there? JT, Caleb were there.
Yep.
Bobby Heidline, he did a really good job too. I thought.
Did.
And then an Air Force guy, I can't remember his name.
Yeah, it's from New York. He did a good job. I liked his jokes. He was an opener.
Yeah.
And then on the triple amputee dude, I can never remember his name.
Yeah.
But that was really fun. And then left there, went and hung at the Circle Bar, the usual SHOT Show That night it was a nightmare. There were so many
Yeah,
people.
it was insane.
There's probably 1,500 people around that bar.
Yeah, at least.
In a casino that normally there's like 18.
Yeah.
So I had it first.
And
Gary had a first.
Gary had a
shot.
first, but Gary doesn't have a microphone. So, but yeah, so that was a quick and dirty about SHOT Show. And it was fun. We had a good time. We're back. We were getting ready for TPE. We leave Tuesday to go out there for that. Before we went to Vegas, though, this past weekend, we did our annual dog and knife hunt that we used to do with a nonprofit, but that nonprofit is no longer.
The nonprofit's no longer, but the spirit and the people.
And the people are still there.
Still there.
It was
that's all that matters.
all the same people that were there in all the years prior that we've done it, minus the actual hunters, the vets, because they're different every year.
Right.
But all the support guys, all the guys who are running it, the quote unquote guides, the dog handlers, the landowners, all the people that, that work on the ranch and help out too. Everybody else was still there. It was put on by a group of people that dedicated their own money, their own time, their own efforts to take guys out, because this weekend, that experience means so much to us, the people that do it, and then the veterans that are out there. And so I think it was our 5th annual dog and knife hunt. I think
it was my first. I went as a hunter this year. Wow, what a good time.
It's so my favorite part about that whole weekend is the whole weekend's fun, but Saturday is the day that we actually hunt.
Yeah.
Like that's the day that we have all the dogs and everybody's out running around the woods and it's just chaos, kind of. This year was a little bit less chaotic, just because we've done it enough at this point. But that's my favorite time because you don't really know what you're walking into. Like people explain it to you, they tell you what it is and all that kind of stuff. And then when it's your turn, you're just like, oh, okay.
Yeah.
So you got to be a hunter this year.
Yeah.
So explain, let everybody know how it is in your opinion.
Okay.
Because I know not on this show, but on our other podcast, we've talked about it every year after we get done doing it because it's so much fun. But for you being there for your first time, what did you think about that?
So the night before we went and did the traditional sit in a tree stand and wait for pigs to come in and shoot them.
Yeah.
Right.
Traditional in a blind.
In a blind. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Not a tree stand.
Yeah.
Blind. Yeah. And to me that was normal. Right.
Yeah.
And then the next day we're doing, they have essentially 2 sets of dogs.
Yeah.
One set of dogs tracks the pigs and the other set attack the pig and hold them down until the hunter, which I didn't really feel like a hunter. I'll be honest. I felt like a pig killer.
The same thing.
Yeah. Yeah. So then, we're trying to keep up with the dogs. So you're running through the thickest bullshit
on 2 legs and they have 4.
They have 4. They're a little lower to the ground. Right. And there's like thorns and thickets and you're, my cardio's, not my prime cardio I've ever had in my life. So you're running a little bit. Justin's an animal because he's filmed every one of them. So he's running along for every one of these. But yeah, then they got the dogs are just going to town on this pig. Like they're winning a fight.
Yeah.
But they completely outnumber the pig.
Yeah.
There's probably 5, 6, 7 dogs on a pig.
Well, it depends on
where
and how and what. Sometimes it's 1 or 2. Sometimes you get the whole pack. So I think when you got yours, I think we had the majority of the pack was on it.
Yeah.
There's probably 5 or 6 dogs on there.
Yeah. And mine was buried up under some nasty shit. So it was hard to get to.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I've never stabbed anything before with a knife, like to death.
Yeah.
I've accidentally cut my finger and stuff like that, but I've never plunged a knife into something to kill it before. Right. It is way easier than you would imagine.
It's so easy.
Yeah. Like, you watch the movie and you think, oh, you got to push the knife in and then it's going to be so hard to like turn it.
Yeah.
No, not at all.
It is harder. It is harder. Like say you're cooking a roast or a brisket.
Right.
Trimming that brisket is harder than stabbing a pig to death.
Yes.
It really is.
So it was very,
I call it
a personal.
it's a very intimate form of
Yeah. Very, very intimate, very personal. But at the time you stab the pig, you're doing it a favor because you're doing it a favor because the dogs are not nice about it.
And it's quick. It's not like you're just there's the dog handlers, the guys that are in there with the hunter, the stabber, whatever you want to call them. They've been doing this for I don't even know how long. I think Mason grew I think he was born into this.
Right.
Like his entire life, this is what he's done. So when they have the pig positioned on the ground, they will tell the hunter, the stabber, exactly what and where to do.
Yeah.
And you can't miss. You know what I mean? So it's not like when you're shooting at something and you have a chance of not hitting the kill zone.
Right.
Right. This is like you are there no matter what. And it's going to happen. And it's only going to take a couple seconds after you insert that knife.
Yeah.
And so ethically wise, it's a very, very quick and clean kill.
Yeah. Well, and they're pigs. They're a nuisance. They're they populate faster than you can kill them. So it's like something. And I don't know if people listening to this podcast know what pigs do, but they like destroy the property.
They cause billions of dollars in damage to property every single year.
They root up the ground to the point where you almost can't drive on it with a side by side.
And if it's a planted field, they destroy your crops.
Right.
Well, you can't harvest out of that field.
I imagine it fucks the cattle's when they're walking on that shit.
Mm-hmm.
So they do a lot of damage. They overpopulate. So it's like, whatever. It's a pig. And then Justin and I, we tackled and caught a piglet.
I will be the first to admit Scott tackled the piglet. I wrangled it towards Scott.
Because I watched it and I was on the phone with my wife. I'm like, I should hang up on her and go chase this pig. I'm like, fuck, it kind of got too far away now. I'm not really in shape. And then Justin chases it back up to me. I'm like, I gotta go. and then what? A minute or two later, I sent her a picture with this piglet.
I was walking back to the buggy because I'd gotten a pig. Yeah. All the stabbers got one, and I was the only one there that hadn't stabbed one. So they were like, Justin was like, all right. So my hand's covered in blood. I'm like, I'm gonna go put my camera up, so I'm not touching my camera with all this blood. As I'm walking back, I see Scott, and then I see the little piglet, and I'm like, I'm gonna get this thing. I fell like 3 times trying to get this little piglet, and then I saw Scott come running. And I was like, all right, if I can just wrangle it towards Scott, then he can
one of us is gonna get it.
Exactly. Yeah. And it was a solid team effort.
Yeah. So it is way easier to catch the piglets in the woods than it is in a wide open field.
Maybe
that thing.
How do you think we got them in the first place?
Yeah,
none of us are quick. You know what I mean?
Those things.
That one, Rich Dirks got that one in the woods.
Yes.
Yeah. Yep.
Yes.
Yeah, we call them pocket pigs.
Yeah.
You have a hoodie.
That's what he told me. The thing was going nuts. He's like, put it in your hoodie pocket. So I did.
And it just chills.
Yeah.
It's like a thunder blanket. It's just like, we're cool.
Immediately, like Scott didn't even get the whole thing into his hoodie pocket. And before he could get it situated, it already stopped squealing.
Yep.
Yeah. And so my wife's like, then what'd you do? Viciously stab it to death? No, I didn't.
No.
It's a little baby pig. I'm not going to do that.
It found a new home.
Yeah.
They were given to the dog handlers, and the dog handlers, either they'll keep them or they use them to help train some of the new pups.
I'm surprised though that the dogs that came back weren't like, they wanted to mess with it, but they weren't like trying to kill it like they were with the big ones.
No, because it's typically when those dogs are growing up, they're trained up with the smaller ones.
Okay.
And so they know that like this is a tool. I'm not supposed to eat this.
Right.
But then the bigger ones are like, but I'm supposed to eat that one. Yep.
Yeah.
But
John, you got a big old Bertha.
I got for a couple things happened to me on this trip. Because I wasn't supposed to be a hunter. I was just there to facilitate the help.
Yeah.
Guide, do whatever. And then the last day, Sunday, we ended up going out Sunday morning because we had one of the hunters didn't get a pig yet. And so first thing in the morning, we get on pigs right away and got that one out of the way. And so then it was just fun after that. But the thing with dogs is it's not like it's just like a one and done. It's not like you can be like, okay, load up, we're out of here. You know what I mean? The dogs are like, okay, it's time to work. It's game on, And so essentially we have to catch the dogs as we get a pig. And then the other ones, like once we get that pig, the dogs will run off, try to find more, because usually they're in a pack. It's not like there's just one lone hog running around in the woods, you know?
Right.
And so the dogs immediately, once we get that one, they start going after the other ones. So I think we ended up getting like 6 that morning.
Yeah.
As we're getting them, we start peeling dogs off, but the other dogs are still running around. You know what I mean? Because we didn't want to be out there all day long. And so essentially we got as many pigs as the dogs were running.
Right.
Once we corralled all the dogs, then we stopped getting the pigs. But we're running through the woods because the dogs are on some pigs. And we're kind of going like through these ravine type areas, and we hear this chaos in front of us. The dogs are on a group of pigs, and all of a sudden this chaos starts getting louder and louder and louder and louder. And I'm like, oh shit, the pigs are running directly for us. Yeah. And so I'm behind this like 2-inch tree. Yeah. You know, just as a barrier, because it's gonna go left or right, right? As I pull out my knife, and I'm just like, if one of these gets within arm's reach, it's going down. And this one got about 3 feet from me before it was like shit, and then it completely did a return, and I'm like, oh, that would have been so fun.
So there was probably 20 pigs in that group.
Yeah,
and once you guys cornered the one you got,
half of them ran past us. The other half
they ran right past me too. Yeah.
But so I come running up, and there's probably between a 300 and 340 pound pig is the one that I ended up getting, and it was a beast. It charged Mason, which is interesting. But yeah, that was the biggest pig ever got, the biggest pig I've ever seen.
Wow,
like it was massive.
Yeah.
But it was 300 and something pounds, and so there's no way we're dragging that thing out of the woods. That we still had others we had to get. The dogs were still running and everything. But no, that was really fun. So we got some content you'll be seeing up on social media soon, because pretty much everyone that was there was smoking cigars.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, it was a really fun time.
Yeah, it was good.
And then
the next week we got TPE.
Yep.
Yeah. Justin, you got any questions or anything?
We got a couple. So let's get back on to some cigar related stuff.
Yeah.
Now that we just covered SHOT Show and killing things. So talking about shops and lounges. Okay. What's something that makes you want to go back to a shop or a lounge?
Being treated like family.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like the relationship that.
Yeah. Like not being treated as like necessarily a customer, you know, but being treated as like, you know, where people want to get to know who you are. Like, and that's kind of the way I try to be. Like when I'm at a shop and hanging out with people, I want to know who's buying my cigars, you know, like I want to know the people, you know, and, you know, so I appreciate that about a shop, you know, a shop that's knowledgeable, that doesn't just, like if you walk in, like they ask if you need help. And I think a lot of people are afraid to say, yeah, I need help. Yeah. But if you are smart enough to be like, yeah, I do need help. And you talk to the person, they guide you to cigars that you might be interested in, or they're able to tell you the backstory behind the cigar brand. You know, I appreciate that because I don't know all the brands, right?
Right.
And so when I learned about a new brand, I like to hear the story behind it and stuff like that. So people who are not just selling cigars, but are really into the industry and the community of the cigars.
Yeah, they're knowledgeable.
Yeah, knowledgeable. Yeah, I like that.
I'm a huge fan of good air purification.
Mm-hmm.
If a shop has good air purification, if it's not smoky as shit in there, you know, if you see a line, you know, smoke just hanging out 5 feet above the ground, I don't like that.
Yeah.
But if it's clean air and doesn't smell like a stale cigar, you know, I will definitely go back.
And you can tell almost immediately by walking in if they have tall ceilings, you're probably okay.
Yeah.
If they have like this height of ceiling, then it's like, oh,
it's going to get a little rough.
Then I hope they have
unless they have a really good air purification system. Yeah.
I mean, fuck, even in here sometimes when we're all smoking. So
well, we have nothing. We have a couple,
and then we have an open window and a fan, you know. And,
but the fan's on the bottom and he's on the top. Yeah. I like good selections. If they have like,
and not necessarily a large selection.
And And so I'm and it's kind of a term in the industry, but I'm going to call them, they're called legacy brands. And legacy brands are like Perdomo, Padron, Rocky Patel, like, these brands that are in every single humidor, wherever you go, like it is what it is.
Yeah.
Those are what I call legacy brands, or what the industry calls legacy brands. And then you have boutique cigars, which companies like us and, there's a shitload more boutique cigars that are out there.
Not necessarily a good definition for boutique
There
cigar.
is. They have to release under 1 million cigars a year.
Oh, that's a lot of people then.
That's what I mean.
Yeah.
But that's considered a boutique cigar company.
Yeah.
And so, but when you have these companies that release smaller amounts of cigars, they're more focused on quality than they are their name or their branding or their marketing or, how long their family's been doing it. So they focus on quality and uniqueness to be a draw for their cigars.
Yeah.
They can also do really good marketing and whatnot, but they don't have just the name of the company that's supporting it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So a shop that carries a lot of boutique cigars, I really appreciate that. Not saying not just because we're a boutique cigar company, but it's because they're trying to give their customer the best experience. They're trying to give them the best options that are out there. I feel like today's day and age, the majority of cigar smokers are, in that 30 to 40-year-old range.
Right.
They're not 60 or 70 that I only smoke Rocky Patel, I only smoke Perdomo or, whatever these, brands are because, somebody back in the day introduced them to them and that's the only cigar they've ever smoked.
Yeah. Or even more legacy, like you got the Monte Cristo or the Cohiba. Mm-hmm. And then you have uneducated smokers who assume that Monte Cristo and Cohiba are Cuba because that's where the names originated. Where in reality, that's not true.
You can't buy Cuban cigars in the United States.
Yeah.
Legally.
Right. You're not going to go to a cigar shop and find them on the shelf.
No, that's not how this works. They do have Monte Cristo, they have Romeo and Julieta, they have Cohiba, they have all these brands, but they're all based out of Nicaragua or Dominican, and there are no Cuban tobaccos in them.
Right.
So, some of them might be good, but there's probably 1,000 other cigars on that shelf that are phenomenal.
By no means am I saying that Cubans are good. I'm just saying that uneducated people assume that, and they assume that the brand that originated from Cuba, it must be Cuban.
Yeah.
Well, no, there's a whole industry behind the name and the
right.
Yeah. So,
what else would make you want to go back to a cigar shop or a lounge? So we got the people, we got the staff, like people and staff, making you feel like family. Air purification.
Customers are along with that. People too, like the other customers that are in the lounge that you're hanging out with.
Yeah.
Like if you have a good customer base, it's going to snowball and bring in more good customers.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, that's what makes me like a cigar lounge.
Yeah.
It's definitely the people.
Selection and air purification are my two biggest things. Comfy chairs helps.
Yeah.
But that's not a deal breaker.
Right.
I'll go sit on the floor if it's clean air and I have a great selection.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yep. But yeah. And then, so another cigar related question. What are some weird cigar shapes that you've seen?
So Justin brought this up because he just told me today he found a unique one.
I was looking through online, looking for topics for us and stuff, and I saw a rolled cigar, but it was in the shape of a pipe, like pipe.
And I said, well, John can one up that. You have one with the set of testicles.
No, I don't. I have a baseball bat.
Oh, okay.
The one with the set of testicles was actually made for a shop owner.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
Yeah. So Kenny with Esteban Carreras, their national sales manager and regional rep, he had a shop that I don't know how they got on the subject of it, but they were talking about dick-shaped cigars and how nobody does them and all this kind of stuff. And I'm like, oh, it's kind of a reason, whatever. So when one of the trips it was the first trip that Scott and I were down at our current factory that we have. We went down to the beach. We brought one of their rollers the experienced roller down with us. And so I think it was like the second day we were at the beach, and here they were hand rolling cigars for us and everything like that. And so we got to talking with the guy, and we're like, "Hey, what are some crazy shapes that you can do?"
Yeah.
Then he's like, "Oh, I could do a baseball bat." I'm like, "I'll take one." So he rolls his baseball bat. It's great. It's sitting in my humidor at home. Like, I don't know if I'll ever smoke it.
Right.
It looked like a baseball bat.
And there's
he
companies.
did a really good job.
There's companies that sell baseball shape.
Yeah. The Big Poppy, the David Ortiz cigar.
And LFD does one for the College World Series every year. And then there's football shaped ones.
Yeah, they're super cool. And so then Kenny walks up and he's like, "I need you to make me this." And there's a language barrier. So we had somebody that spoke English well enough to explain what we wanted. And it was hilarious watching this this conversation happen in Spanish when we know what the end goal is. Right. So, but the guy nailed it. Yeah. He put balls on it. He had veins and everything. Like he nailed it. So I don't know the name of the shop, and you're probably not listening to the podcast. But
I do. I just don't know if I want to shout it out.
Oh, so I can't remember. But I hope you smoked it. Yeah, that's probably the weirdest shaped cigar I've ever seen.
Yeah. And then Drew Estates does one called the Egg.
Yeah. Then you have that weird 3 one that's braided, the Calibra.
Yeah.
LFD does a chisel,
which is fantastic.
I really do like that.
Yeah.
They have this Sixto.
Yeah, there's an Egg baseball bat. Looks like a bowling pin.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. The Sixto is a size, I believe, by Plasencia, and it's a 6-sided box press. That's a unique one.
What's the one? It's the pyramid shaped. I hate smoking them because they get so hot at the end.
Oh, like the what's that one?
Drew Estates,
the Deadwood Tobacco.
Yeah,
it's the Crazy Alice.
Crazy Alice is shaped like that.
Yep. Where it's like a reverse
cone.
Yeah.
Yeah, so you can do anything. The problem is when you start getting in crazy shapes and stuff, they burn weird.
Yeah.
So then you're touching it up a lot. Like that pipe.
The My Father pipe.
Yeah,
that's what it was.
Like that one, like look how it's burning.
Yeah.
It just took the path of least resistance and left the bend there.
That's immediately what I thought. I was like, that's really cool. Maybe like the first inch, and then it's just maintaining the burn.
Yeah. And then I don't know how much you have, like the guy that can roll a cigar can probably roll 20 cigars to that one cigar.
Easily.
Yeah. So then it becomes a cost thing,
Mm-hmm.
Well, that one looks like a little fish. That's funny.
Yeah. Well, that's funny. They call it "I'll be damned," like a dam. That's a fish.
Oh, nice.
I appreciate that. But yeah, the shapes are. I don't. It reminds me of like back in high school when people are rolling joints, and they're like, "Oh, you got to roll it so it looks like a cross," and blah 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 blah, and it's like, yeah, but does it burn?
Right.
You know what I mean? Like that's. I don't know. Then again, with the cigars like that, they're kind of like a gimmicky cigar, like people are going to buy it just because it's like, oh, look at that. That's cool. I need one.
A lot of the cigar industry is art, right? Mm-hmm. Like it's rolling a cigar is art. And then when you have somebody that can roll a crazy shape like that, it's, I understand why people buy them. I understand why people sell them. Like it's cool.
I can't say anything about it. I have that baseball bat one.
Yeah.
I have a David Ortiz, the Big Poppy cigar. I have a chisel.
Right.
I have one of those Plasencia ones.
Yeah.
I have an egg.
Right.
And these are all just sitting there. I'm not smoking them.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Just because, it's a cool shape. I'm going to get one, throw it in the humidor.
Yeah.
Yep. Yeah. Let's see. The weirdest shaped cigar that Warfighter's ever done.
We haven't done that many weird ones. We got a box pressed torpedo.
Yeah. Closed foot pigtail.
Yeah.
Those are about the weirdest that we got.
Right.
We have an idea for one. I don't know if we'll ever do it or not, but it's pretty cool. Yeah. But we'll leave it at that because can't really let the cat out of the bag. Somebody copy us.
Yeah.
Or steal the idea.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah. Any other questions from the audience?
Not really, boys. I know, John, you got an event
I do.
coming up.
So I'll be out in Arizona February 10th with Cigar Therapy. So it's a shop in kind of on the north side of Phoenix. Jimmy Orr is the guy who owns the shop. And he bought it. It used to be called Chicago Joe's. And he took over and kind of revamped the humidor, got the right cigars in there.
Yeah.
And is building the clientele up and the customer.
Well, we had a long history with Jimmy.
We got a long history with Jimmy.
So Jimmy is from this little ass town in Nebraska called Bennett, Nebraska, which happens to be the same little ass town that I had my gun store in.
And we started Warfighter.
We started Warfighter in.
Yeah.
And so he was a cigar rep.
But Jimmy didn't live there.
Jimmy didn't live there, but he was in Lincoln, which was, I don't know, 20 minutes away, right? And so he's doing an event, and somebody says, well, have you ever heard of Warfighter? He's like, no, where are they from? They said Bennett. He's like, I went to high school in Bennett. There's no cigar companies in Bennett. And he was wrong. And then eventually Jimmy introduced us to the factory that we use now. Yeah. And so
Jimmy's prior military.
Yeah, Jimmy was in
the Army.
Yeah.
And then come to find out, after a couple of drunken nights at the PCA in Vegas years and years ago, Jimmy and I realized where we thought we knew each other from, because we always thought we knew each other before meeting in Nebraska at the cigar shop. Come to find out, back in the day, I was clean shaven and Jimmy had a beard like I do.
Okay.
And we both rode motorcycles together. Rode with different groups of people, but we hung out in the same circles. I guarantee you I've got drunk with him a couple nights before, 15 years ago.
Right.
And so it's really funny trying to put two and two together. And then we finally landed on it. And we were like,
once it clicked, you guys knew all the same people.
Everybody.
Yeah.
But yeah. So it's at his shop. It's called Cigar Therapy. And he does events there the second Saturday of every month, which is a great idea.
Does that make Jimmy a therapist?
No. Not even close.
Thank God.
No. No.
Or is it therapist?
And then, but the funny thing about Jimmy is a dog, shop dog.
Yeah.
And his shop dog is named Kira. Yep. And it's big old rot and just a sweetheart.
Nice.
And she will steal your seat.
Yeah.
But yeah, February 10th. I'm assuming it's probably noon to 4, noon to 5. This is when we typically do all the events over there.
And you said that was Phoenix there?
Yep, North Phoenix. But yeah, it's called Cigar Therapy. And so we'll be out there having a great time. Good cigar. We'll have some awesome specials going on. Good deals. It's the day before it's Super Bowl. So if you guys need squares and you're in Phoenix, come on out. Jimmy's got squares. It's going to be a good time.
Nice.
Yep. Well, that's also our shop of the show, Cigar Therapy.
And Jimmy does a really cool way to do events. I mean, we're a cigar podcast. Let's talk about how
go in depth on the event stuff.
Yeah, because the way he does it,
it makes sense.
Other people should take note.
Yeah.
Because it does make sense.
Yep. So when you go to the event, you can it's kind of like a cover, right?
Yeah.
So you can pay $10, right? $10 gets you into the event, you get a cigar. Go in the humidor, you pick out whatever you want, you come back out, and when you go to pay for everything that you picked out of the humidor, you get $10 off. So you get all your cigars, you get $10 off plus whatever the specials are. If you get a box, you get all kinds of free stuff. Obviously, with any cigar event, the more you buy, the more free shit you get.
Yeah.
But that's the quick and dirty on how he does his. But he does them the second Saturday of every month.
So if you're a cigar owner and you have a really cool event with, like, say you do food and all this stuff, and people come in, don't spend any money, but just come hang out at your event.
Yeah.
This is a good way to get them to spend money. And it doesn't actually cost cigar smokers any more money because they get that in a credit.
Yeah.
So, it's brilliant, I think.
It is.
Yeah.
And then the other brilliant part that he does is the event that he does is the second set, the staple event every month he does is the second Saturday of every month. Rain or shine, doesn't matter. Holiday, not holiday, Super Bowl, not Super Bowl, doesn't matter.
Right.
Second Saturday of every month. So his customer base knows that when they look at their calendar and they wake up on Saturday morning and like, oh shit, there's an event at Jimmy's shop tonight.
Right.
Who is it? I don't care who it is. It's an event. I'm going to go hang out.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So that's kind of cool too. Cause a lot of times, you know, cigar events, they happen randomly.
Yeah.
You know, they're like, oh, we're going to have it on a Tuesday because that's when the rep can be here.
Right.
You know, or it's going to be a Monday afternoon because, you know, that's when we can, you know, slide this in. But doing that the second Saturday of every month, I like that. I like how that works out. But yeah. And then, you know, he has food. There's always stuff to drink that's there. All that fun stuff. But yeah.
So we got these back in today.
We did. We got a restock on our 5.56 field Connecticut's and our 7.62 field Sumatras. And then in about, I don't know, 3-4 weeks, we'll have our 50 Garrison Oscuro Maduros back. We'll go from there. So we and it's not a bad thing. What happened is you guys crushed it leading up to Christmas. That's really what it was.
Yeah.
We didn't anticipate how busy we were going to be in the last quarter of last year. And we got a little lean on some inventory that we had.
Which we pride ourselves in not happening. So we apologize. But thank you.
Yeah. So we're getting caught back up from the chaos that Q4 was for us. And but so we'll have plenty of inventory in stock for all the trade shows coming up because next week we have TPE and then 50 days after that we have PCA.
Yeah.
But that's going to be really fun. Let's see all the cool shit that's going to come from those.
Did you read some of the comments on favorite and least favorite warfighters?
No.
It was all over the board. The one that surprised me was somebody said that the least favorite was the Victory.
Really?
Yeah.
Huh.
But there was a ton of people that said that was their favorite too.
Right.
So, I mean, it averages out.
Yeah.
And then the Night Shift is definitely, it's a fan favorite.
Yeah, I think we knocked it out of the park with that one.
Yeah. I'm happy with how that one
Yep.
that one worked out. Yeah, we got to get back down to Nicaragua, work on some other new stuff. And yeah, hopefully got some cool things coming out this year. So bear with us.
Yeah, with PCA moving to March instead of being in July, it threw a wrench in all of our release dates and everything. Because mentally we were prepared for July.
Yeah.
And now we're just like, well, we'll see how this year plays out.
Yeah. And now that it's March and we won't make that deadline,
that's not March yet. We're still January.
Yeah, but now that the deadline,
March,
you know, but now I'm like, I feel like we're going to be behind for July even. So we'll see.
Yep. Yeah. But other than that,
I did find one more question.
Right.
Someone is curious if y'all will be at Rednecks with paychecks this year.
One of us will be for sure.
strong maybe.
I bought my tickets today for March.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
So actually, I need to go figure out my calendar.
Yeah.
And then I'll let you know if I'm getting tickets yet or not. Yep.
No, I run into customers at Rednecks every year, so I bet I know who asked.
Yeah.
We won't be selling them there, but chances are if you find me, I might have one for you.
Yeah. Yeah, that's funny when we were at SHOT Show. It only happened one time. Because years prior at SHOT, we always have a goodie bag full of shit, stickers and patches.
Yeah.
And, you know.
Well, we had too much to carry to drop off to.
And we had too many things we had to do.
Yeah.
And so I remember we were sitting at a booth. We were talking with, I can't remember what company it was. We were talking to the director of marketing. And a customer walked up and he's just like, so what's cool stuff you got in that bag this year? And I open it up and I show him. And he looks in it and he kind of looks at me and I'm like, nothing, man. I'm sorry. I'm like, we're actually working this year.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. One guy come up and he showed us his Warfighter cutter. And yeah, I know he's a customer now.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. That's where we're getting in the Uber.
Yeah.
Yeah. I grabbed personal cigars for him. I'm like, here, man. Thank you. Yep.
Yeah.
But yeah. So we're going to run. We have to get shit ready for TPE. So we actually have more work we have to get done.
Yeah.
But stay tuned for next episode. Actually, we might skip next week, won't we?
We might end up with a guest. We'll see.
We might have one. If not, it's because
it's because we're at the show.
Yeah, shit's crazy. But we promise we will do our damnedest to get another one out to you.
We'll try to bank one. So
if not, we'll make it up, and we'll do 2 the following week or something like that. Yeah, but we'll get them out to you guys. This time of year for us is just it's a dead sprint.
Yeah.
But go check out warfightertobacco.com. Check out a new blends. If you haven't had a night shift yet, go get it. If you're looking for those Connecticut's or the Sumatras, they're all back in stock. Apologize, the sampler's not in yet, but give us a couple weeks. Once we get that 50 Garrison back in, all our samplers will be back in stock.
You can get a sampler in a different size.
Yeah, just not in Toro.
Yeah.
That's the only one we're short on right now. But yeah, go smoke cigars.
Yeah. All right.
Cheers, buddy. We'll see you guys next week.